Yo, what's up, guys? Happy NFL Sunday. We're going to find some bets. So, where should we start? Should we start on PrizePicks? What should we start on? So, we got a ton of good games on the early slate. We also have a ton of NBA games today. So, I think there are 7 NBA games today. So, there's going to be a lot of plays available. And college basketball is back in full swing. So without further ado, let's start to lock in some bets. So we'll keep this live stream, pretty brief. On these live streams, I try to focus on the main books. Obviously, like FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, there's hundreds of sports books out there. I have no idea what books are legal in your state, but I try to focus on the main books. Like Fliff, for example, is a book legal in basically every state. So the first play we can see is right here, Eastern Illinois versus Miami, Ohio, under 135.5 points. And it's like, okay, this wasn't really the bet I was expecting to place. But if that's where the value is, whatever. I don't really care. I'm just trying to make some money. So what we can do is we can go here. We want to try to move quickly before the line moves. And we want to go to under 135 minus 105. And you can see these assholes already moved the line down to minus 120. So again, like when you're betting, and we'll go to PrizePicks next, but you want to try to move quickly. Although there are some other college basketball bets. So maybe we lock in a college basketball bet, then we'll go over to so the market's always moving, right? Like I say this all the time, but depending on injuries, stuff like that. Like if you look at injuries in the NBA, who's questionable, who's not. Like all this stuff moves around lines. If Devin Booker isn't playing, Kevin Durant, his points line probably has to move higher. The market's always adjusting to new information, and it's no different in sports betting. So anyways, maybe we'll start out on PrizePicks. So let's start out on PrizePicks. And then we can go to Fliff, Underdog Fantasy. We can kind of focus on all the main books. And again, like these great lines, they don't last forever. So just as a simple example, pretty crazy, but this line has been ripping towards the Celtics. You can see I got the Celtics earlier today, picked them up -8 at minus 120. I gave that play out on Twitter. Now they're minus 145, and this play still looks good on Fliff. Fliff has a max bet size of $250. So I'm not going to be able to bet it again. Minus 120, it moved to minus 145. But you can see lines have just been ripping towards the Celtics. I don't know, maybe some injury news. Who knows exactly why the lines are moving. But anyways, let's lock in some bets. So let's go to PrizePicks, and let's start out on PrizePicks. And where do we want to start? So the first play we can start, and obviously this play is going to be a little controversial, but, just kind of how it is Montgomery no rushing touchdown. So there's a difference between rushing touchdown, right? Rushing touchdown and rushing plus passing plus receiving touchdown. Like, obviously Montgomery can receive for a touchdown. So if you look at Montgomery in general to score a touchdown, so if we go over to player touchdowns and we look at Montgomery, let's take a look at him. Is what you'll notice is, let's go here as well. Let's pull up the Lions game. And my Wi-Fi is moving a little slow. Damn. So anyways, if we go here and we pull up Montgomery, you're going to see David Montgomery is favored to score a touchdown, right? Or not really, but if you look at sports books, like there's a difference between his rushing and his rushing plus receiving touchdown. So if we go ahead here and let's take a look at Montgomery. So Montgomery is, slightly favored on most sports books to score a touchdown. But again, he can receive for a touchdown. So if you look at his rushing touchdown market, his line, so where is it? It's right here. Is you're going to see David Montgomery is heavily favored to not rush for a touchdown, right? He's a minus 175 favorite to not rush for a touchdown. So again, like the way that PrizePicks works is they'll give you the same payout if you take him to go over or under, right? So you take a player's over, under, whatever, right? Like we take his over, we take his under, we're getting the same payout. So essentially, like what you want to do is you want to look at sports books, even if you don't use this sports book flip, it's a source of information. The odds they're putting out help you find good bets, and you're going to see Montgomery's heavily favored to not rush for a touchdown. So you want to take his under on PrizePicks, and he's a big favorite, right? He's a minus 175 favorite to not rush for a touchdown. So that's a great play to go with on PrizePicks. And again, like on PrizePicks, if you kind of go through the math, I have a little spreadsheet where I've broken down kind of the math behind PrizePicks. Is what you're going to see is like on PrizePicks, they have fixed payouts. They're always giving you the same payout. So it all boils down to winning 54.25% of your picks, right? So Montgomery is a play on PrizePicks winning above 54.25% of the time. And you can see that because, again, all the books have minus 175 to not rush for a touchdown. And then you can see the second pick is Brandon Aubrey over 1.5 field goals made. So I already gave out a play with both of these picks on Twitter, but I mean, you can see here, right? Like he's heavily favored to go over. Like this is how you beat PrizePicks, right? You follow the market data. If you look at Brandon Aubrey, you'll notice he's super heavily favored to, go over 1.5 field goals made. All the sports books are telling you through their odds, this guy's a lot more likely to go over. He's a minus 175 favorite, or minus 170. He's a pretty big favorite to go over. So all the books are telling you, and all these books have different odds, slightly different models, but all these books are telling you, hey, he's heavily favored to go over. And then we have Cameron Dicker under 1.5 field goals made. So these are 3 picks you can just pull right from the OddsJam Fantasy Optimizer right here. All the books have Aubrey heavily favored to go over. They have Dicker heavily favored to go under. And again, like PrizePicks will give you the same payout if you take him to go over or you take him to go under. So you want to take his over because all the books have him heavily favored to go over 1.5 field goals made. So it's like, okay, those seem like good plays to go with. But let's see what else is available. So you can see there's some good plays on WinBet, but I'll filter that out for now. WinBet's not a book, legal in a bunch of states, so we'll filter that out for now, and I'll try to focus on the main books. So you can see here, Pretty Lockett again to not, to go under 4.5 receptions. All the books have him heavily favored to go under. You can pull up a line movement chart, and again, everything's encompassed in the market, injuries, whatever, like. So many people like to look at these fucking last 5 graphs. They're useless, right? Like every game is different. There's injuries, all that sort of stuff. They're playing a different opponent. Everything is baked into the odds sportsbooks are putting out. Just like for the price of a stock, everything's baked into the price of the stock. If they're making a lot of money, the company, the price of the stock goes up. Like it's reflected in the market. But anyways, let's find some plays on PrizePicks. So we have 3 picks, but ideally we can find a couple more. So the same thing here is, what do we have? Ooh, we have CeeDee Lamb. Oh, God, this looks good. CeeDee Lamb under 7 receptions. So this play just popped up. And again, like this market's always moving. Sports books are pulling lines. They're moving them. Lines are moving. Sharp actions coming in, injuries are coming out, lineups are changing, especially in the NBA. So you look at CeeDee Lamb, all the books have his line at 6.5. The other fantasy sites like PrizePicks have his line at 6.5. So like ESPN, all these books. Well, I just hit the wrong tab. But anyways, let's lock this in quickly before the line moves. So we want to go to CeeDee. And do we already have a play in the... So this play doesn't pair that well with the Aubrey play. So because the CeeDee Lamb play has a higher profit margin, let's include this. But again, like you can take a look at the data, right? ESPN, Caesars, like Pinnacle, Pinnacle, whatever, known to be the sharpest, the smartest sportsbook out there. They have the line at 6.5 lower, and they have the under favored, right? Like, you got to consider the juice. Again, on PrizePicks, if you're winning your over-unders, just like Cameron Dicker, over under 1.5 field goals, if you're winning your props over 54.25% of the time, so you need a real advantage, right? You got to win 56, 55% of your player props, only losing 45%, 44%. So you need a real advantage. But the easiest way to do that is you just look at books, right? So here it's like, okay, first of all, the books have his line lower at 6.5. And then second of all, nearly all of these sports books have his under favored, right? Fliff, Caesars, DraftKings, or ESPN, Pinnacle. Like all these books are saying, yo, first of all, his line should be lower and his under should be favored. And obviously, like CD Lamb's, been hot, but I follow a very data-driven approach. So I'm just going to take the under. So it's like, okay, we'll skip over this play on Aubrey. And next we can go to Brock Purdy. All the books have him heavily favored to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So this is becoming an all NFL slip. There's a lot of NBA today, and the same strategy applies to betting on the NBA. But it's like, okay, we now have 4 sharp picks, but ideally we can find 5 or 6 on PrizePicks. Justin Simmons over 4.5 tackles plus assists. All the books have his over -160, -150 favorite. All these books have sophisticated models. So where, you want to put weight into their odds. So even so we want to take his over. Whoops. So we want to take his over. And then Jokic under 23 rebounds plus assists. So this is an NBA play. But again, it doesn't fucking matter what you're betting on. It's the same strategy for beating the books. You want to follow the data, you want to make money. So if you look at Jokic, it's like, okay, all the books have his line lower at 22.5. Most of these books have his under favored, right? Under favored on PointsBet, under favored on Fanatics. So this is a play with an edge. And again, it may seem too simple, just follow the data. But again, and you can see they just moved this play on Justin Simmons. So we're down to a 5 flex on PrizePicks. And you'll see, if I want to bet something for $500, they're going to say, nope. Your maximum entry size is $25. So what sucks about these books is they'll throw in limits. I mean, if you're making money on them, which is bullshit too, because you can see, I used to be able to hit stuff for $400, whatever. $500, and now the max they're giving me on these plays is just $25 on a 5-pick flex play, which sucks, but just kind of how it is. So the CD Lamb play is definitely the best, but anyways, we got a good play down on PrizePicks. But again, there can be value on any book, so the more books you have access to, the better. So let's check out Underdog. So we have Underdog Fantasy pulled up right here. And let's just kind of take a look. So what's the first play OddsJam is recommending? And the only thing that's kind of unique is about these platforms is if you look at PrizePicks, right? And this is pretty important, is on PrizePicks, they only give you a 5x payout for these 3-pick parlays. Or if I go here, right? You select 3 picks, overs, unders, whatever, you're getting a 5x payout, 100 to win 500. On Underdog Fantasy, what you're going to notice is they're giving you a 6x payout. So it does kind of matter, from platform to platform, how many picks you're going with. So on PrizePicks, what you want to be going with are 5 or 6 pick flex plays. And then on Underdog Fantasy, I go with a lot of 3-pick entries. They give you a pretty good payout. So when you kind of break down the math, I have all these spreadsheets that break down the math. You're going to see on Underdog, 3-pick entries are pretty good. So that's what I end up playing a lot. PrizePicks, you never want to play a 3-pick entry. They're a fucking ripoff. But anyways, let's take a look at DJ Moore player receptions. So we just got a good play on CD Lamb on PrizePicks, and now there's some value on DJ Moore on Underdog Fantasy. So it's okay, same strategy, different book. All the books have DJ Moore's line at, and it's not like there's only one other book. I mean, we're talking about you have hundreds of betting markets. There are dozens of books, hundreds of books, right? There are literally 220 sports books on OddsJam. Every book has DJ Moore's line at 4.5. And most of these books, FanDuel, ESPN, they have his under favored. So like all the books are telling us, hey, like he's more likely. Granted, very small, but you can see FanDuel has more juice towards the under, right? Minus 118 versus minus 112. So FanDuel's model is telling you, like, yo, we think this guy is slightly more likely to go under 4.5 receptions as opposed to over. And we're getting under 5, which is a no-brainer. So it's like, okay, we'll slam DJ Moore under 5.5, under 5 receptions. All the books have his line at 4.5. All the other fantasy sites, PrizePicks, ParlayPlay, JockMKT, have his line at 4.5 as well. So now let's check out the next play that OddsJam's recommending is Trey McBride under 5.5 receptions. So let's go back here, and we want to look at Trey. So again, like underdog fantasy strategy is basically similar. You have to win above 55% of your player props to be profitable. So if you go ahead and you look at McBride, player receptions line, what you'll see is like PrizePicks, ParlayPlay. All the other fantasy sites have his line lower. All the sports books have his under super heavily favored. So if you just go to like the Cardinals game, for example, this is just one book. I'm not trying to say like look at Fliff. There's hundreds of sports books out there. All books are a data point. But if you look at Trey McBride, he's a huge favorite, minus 180 favorite to go under. So all the books are telling us, yo, if they have his line at 5.5, they're telling us, hey, he's a lot more likely to go under, which is why this pick is winning above, 55% of the time and is profitable on Underdog Fantasy. So then there's a play on St. Brown, but I don't like including this play. The only thing you want to be careful of on Underdog PrizePicks is, like you don't like when you're including picks in the same game, it doesn't really make a ton of sense to take DJ Moore under and St. Brown under, right? They're on opposing teams. If the Bears are having a good game and they have possession of the ball longer, DJ Moore's more likely to go over, St. Brown under. So those plays are negatively correlated. So we don't really want to include that, but it's like, okay, we can take CJ Stroud under 35.5 passing attempts. And Underdog Fantasy, recently, which is bullshit, but they did the same thing. Again, like it sucks, but it's just kind of part of the game. If you're beating the books, used to be able to bet stuff for 100, $400. Now they say, oh, max bet size of $20. So that kind of sucks. But regardless, we have 3 really good picks. This is all under. So we'll go ahead and we'll lock this in. And then we can kind of continue to go on. Well, we can take a look at Fliff. I kind of bounce around from book to book, tool to tool. You never know where the value is going to be on a given day. So the more books you have, again, the better. So like one strategy I really like is arbitrage, right? So like this doesn't make any sense. You can get Aaron Jones over 3.5 receptions at plus 102 on FanDuel. You can get his under at plus 106 on Caesars, right? Like if you think about that, that doesn't make any sense. Caesars has the over as a minus 145 favorite. FanDuel has the under as a minus 130 favorite. Like the market's clearly out of sync. Caesars and FanDuel, their models are super out of sync. And OddsJam, again, like most of these bets aren't profitable. Underdog Fantasy has literally tens of thousands of lines up. And OddsJam is just like reading in all that data, trying to point out the rare few bets, plays that like are actually discrepancies that actually have value. But arbitrage is a great strategy. And it's when books get so out of sync that you can bet the over on one book. In this case, you'd want to play the over on FanDuel, the under on another book, Caesars, and you make a profit no matter what. So this will only take a second to go through, but this is the strategy I used to start sports betting. It's how I made, my first like $40,000 sports betting, arbitrage betting. So especially if you have access to a lot of books, FanDuel, Caesars, it's a good strategy to know. Risk-free money. Risk-free money. So if Aaron Jones, let's just say like you can pull up an arbitrage calculator. So again, it depends on your bankroll. Like maybe you put 1,000 or whatever. But let's just say you put 1,000 on his over, 980 on his under. And again, maybe for it depends like on your bankroll, you can mess with these numbers. But let's just say this is the case. Let's kind of go through the math real quickly. So if he goes over, and you're getting plus money on both sides, right? Like just think about it. If you put 100 on Caesars, 100 on FanDuel, if he goes over, you make 102 on FanDuel, you lose 100 on Caesars, you're up $2. If he goes under, you lose 100 on FanDuel, you go up 106 on Caesars, you're up $6, right? So the arbitrage calculator just like tells you exactly how much to bet. So if he goes over on FanDuel, we're up 1,000 times 1.02, right? We bet $1,000 at plus 102 odds. We're up $1,020. On Caesars, we lose 980. We're up $40 in profit. If he goes under, we lose $1,000 on FanDuel. On Caesars, we're up 980 times 1.06, $40 roughly in profit, right? Which you can see right here just with the arbitrage calculator. So that's a good strategy. Again, the more books you have, here's another arbitrage bet, this time between FanDuel and Fluff. So you got to move quickly to get these in. But I mean, it's literally free money. But anyways, let's go back here and let's see if we can find any plays on Fluff or any new bets, on so we have Underdog win. So maybe we put in ParlayPlay as well. So again, like a lot of people would be like, man, like I only use PrizePicks, but all these books have pretty lucrative sign-up bonuses. So like ParlayPlay, they have a $100 deposit match for new users. So you put in $100, you get 100 for free. Put in 100, you get 100 for free. I mean, it's literally a free $100. It takes 2 seconds to sign up. And sometimes there's really good bets, on ParlayPlay. There actually a lot of times are good bets on ParlayPlay. So, if you take a look right here, there's a lot of shit in green, right? That's what we want to see. Stuff in green means good bets. So we can lock in some plays on ParlayPlay. Then we can go over to Fliff, and then we can go back to PrizePicks. I'm trying to keep it tight, but if we take a look here, it's like you never know what book is going to fuck up their lines, have value on a given day. But let's take a look at like Jordan Love passing attempts. So if we go here to the Odds Jam screen, this little sports book screen, it just shows you where all books have their line set. It's like, okay, like ParlayPlay has his line at 32.5. It's like, okay, like, I mean, all the other books, their data points, all these other books have his line at, in general, 33.5. Pretty clear value on his over 32.5. Which the fantasy optimizer is just pointing out to you. So it's like, okay, that seems good. What about this play on Justin Simmons? This was the play I think we were trying to bet on PrizePicks, and they ended up bumping it. But again, like PrizePicks has fixed payouts, and ParlayPlay. So this is just some new, PrizePicks competitor. But definitely worth getting because, again, like you never know what book is going to have the best bets on a given day. So like Justin Simmons, he's a huge favorite to go over 4.5 tackles plus assists, minus 160 favorite. We're not talking about like minus 135 favorite, minus 160, big favorite to go over. On ParlayPlay, they give you the same payout if you take this guy to go over, under, whatever. You're always getting the same payout. So we want to take his over because that's heavily favored on all the books. That's a play that's winning, Damn, there are a lot of bets. So I got to shut up and we got to just hit some bets. Then we got to go back to PrizePicks. So I'll check out this play on Dak. And again, like the optimizers, they don't, they're not like, they're just pointing out value. Like you can obviously skip over plays if you don't want to play them. I obviously follow a very data-driven approach. But if we take a look at Dak Prescott, why would we want to fade him on parlay play and take his under? It's like, okay, come on, load up. So we'll take a look at this here in a second, but then we have Jordan Poyer. It's the same strategy, right? It doesn't change between PrizePicks, Underdog, whatever. So we want Poyer over, Wilson under. So that wouldn't make a bunch of sense to pair together, but we want Poyer over 6.5 tackles plus assists. But if you look at Dak Prescott, it's like, what are they doing? They have his line at 270.5. All these other books have his line at 260.5, right? It's kind of like if you could sell a stock at $270 when it's trading in the market at 260.5, right? Pinnacle has the line at 260.5, and they have the under favored. So it's like all this stuff makes it pretty clear, like, yeah, that's a really good bet to go with. So I'm going to skip over this play on Wilson because I already have a play in the Broncos game, which actually this pairs kind of well together. Right? These plays pair kind of well together. So we have Justin Simmons over, right? He's a defender for the Broncos. And then we have Russell Wilson under 5.5 rushing attempts. So this makes sense to pair together, right? Like if the Broncos are having a shitty game, he's probably going to be on the field more. Justin Simmons getting more tackles, more assists. Russell Wilson's more likely to go under. So these plays are positively correlated. So then we have an NBA play. And again, like on all these platforms, the number of picks you go with is really important. So you look at, Benchero, 31.5. All the other books have his line at 32.5. Clear as day. So I just follow the data. I follow a very data-driven approach. I try to lock in as many bets as I can, with an edge on a daily basis. Just kind of let the math work itself out. So that can be our next pick. And then we can go with Gibbs. Do we already have a play in the Lions game? No, we don't. So what do we want with Gibbs? Under 48.5 rushing yards. All the other books have his line at 43.5. So it's like, damn, Gibbs obviously having a great season, but if the data says fade him, fade him. And the optimal slip type, you can kind of play it's pretty close, the 6-pick insured entries versus the 7-pick non-insured entries. But whatever, it's Sunday. We might as well, have some fun with it. And you can see they already moved this line on Jordan Love. So that's just kind of part of the game. These books will try to fuck with you in any way they can. They'll move around lines, yada, yada. So you just want to move quickly. Actually, this is actually bullshit. So you'll notice if I try to take, so currently I have a 6-pick parlay, or I have a 7-pick parlay with a 75x payout. If I take CeeDee Lamb under, they reduce my payout to 20x. Doesn't make any sense. And that's because these plays, Dak Prescott under, is positively correlated with CeeDee Lamb under. Like if Dak goes under, then CeeDee Lamb's more likely to go under. So they just fuck you with the payout, and they say you're no longer getting a 75x payout, which is bullshit, but whatever. These books, again, they're shitty, and they'll try to fuck you in any way they can. But what we can do is we can go back here, so we can go to player kicking points and take a look at Dustin Hopkins. All the books have him at 5.5, right? Follow the data. All these books have sophisticated models. They're taking bets from sharp bettors. They know which other customers are profitable. They're moving around lines based on where sharp action's coming in. They have better data feeds than you. They have better models than you. They all have the line at 5.5, right? If we go back here, right? They all have the line at 5.5. So this makes it pretty clear to us, we want to be on his under 6 points. And do we already have a play in the Steelers game? So I just want to be a little careful of the correlation, and we don't. So it's and you can see they already got rid of the play on Benchero. So it's okay, we're going to have to move that. So again, you're kind of, oddly in a race to just get these bets in. So then we have Jonathan Mingo over 2.5 receptions. So this play pairs well. I don't know if they're going to screw me on the correlation, but if the Cowboys aren't balling out, Dak's more likely to go under. Mingo's more likely to go over. So let's see, are we still getting the 75x payout? We are. So it's like, okay, let's lock in that play. And then what we can do is we can go back here to this play on Lamb. We want to take his under. And then you can see there's just a bunch of other bets. So I won't waste a ton of time on ParlayPlay just because it's not, as popular as used as a book. But regardless, it's like there's just a ton of value on it. I mean, just imagine how easy it would be to be a day trader if you could sell stocks at, where's rushing yards? If you could sell stocks at 48.5 bucks when they're trading in the market at 42, like it would be really easy. So like this play on Gibbs, that's how you got to think about it. Again, like if you think your gut can just outsmart the books, it's like, okay, you can do you. But all these books have sophisticated models. They're taking bets from all these different players. Like that's the most important thing. FanDuel is getting millions of dollars bet on it today. They know where smart customers are betting. They're moving lines, odds based on where action's coming in. All these books, it's not just one book. All these books have Gibbs at 42.5-ish. We just got him under 48.5 on ParlayPlay. That's a no-brainer. That's an absolute no-brainer. But anyways, let's lock in another play. And then we can go back to so I didn't include the play on so we have KD under 38.5. All the books have him at 37.5. So again, like it's pretty simple strategy. Obviously, I just keep it simple, stupid. Find a bunch of plays with an edge, lock them in, let the math work itself out, make money long term, have some fun sweats on. I mean, what's better than that? So let's see. Stafford over 33.5 passing attempts. So we'll lock in a play quickly, and then we can go back to PrizePicks. I mean, this is prime betting hour right now, so I don't want to waste a ton of time. Russell Wilson, under 27.5 rushing yards. So it's like, okay, like let's get it moving quickly. So let's take a look at Russell Wilson rushing yards. All the books have his line lower. Most of the books, like DraftKings, not only do they have his line lower at 26.5, but they have the under as a minus 160 favorite. They have heavy juice towards the under. Again, this fucking platform, ParlayPlay, they'll give you the same payout if you take his over or his under. And on DraftKings, they have his line lower, and they have the under as a heavy favorite at 26.5. Same thing with Pinnacle, known to be the sharpest, the smartest book with the most accurate odds. So it's like, okay, that's definitely a play we want to go with. And Bridges over 32.5, So anyways, let's just lock in another play real quickly, and then we can go back to so we want Jonathan Owens over 5.5 tackles plus assists, or sorry, under. I apologize. So none of these picks are in the same game, so we just need 2 more picks. Then we can kind of move on. We have, Raheem under 56.5 rushing yards. So 7-pick parlays, 75x payout. I mean, it seems a little degenerate, but again, like that's where the value is. That's where we're going to be betting. So then we have the Browns' new quarterback with the Deshaun injury. We want to take him over 25.5 attempts. So it's like, okay, here we go. We got a nice little 7-pick entry. All plays have a mathematical edge. We're going to make money. So let's call it a day on ParlayPlay for now. Let's move back to PrizePicks. This play on Montgomery is still available. So is a lot of the same plays. I mean, really nothing new. So that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So we can go back here to the positive EV tool. Are there any plays on Fliff? Not really. I mean, really small profit margin, 0.28%, 0.2%. So nothing crazy right now. And again, the market's always moving, books moving around odds, especially in the NBA, like, as lineups come out, injuries, Stuff like this, like all this stuff's going to move around the market. Like I assume once Alex Caruso, possibly got injured, lines move towards the Heat. And then, he's good to play. Lines move back towards the Bulls. Like all this stuff moves around lines. And again, because every book sets lines independently, all books set their own odds. That's why there's a bunch of profitable bets, right? Like you can see here, DraftKings, Caesars, right? They've been, DraftKings has ripped odds towards Wilson going under 26.5 rushing yards against the Vikings. The market's always moving. Sharp action, weather changes, injuries, all this stuff moves around the market. So these plays like too low of a profit margin to even bother with. So we can go back here to PrizePicks. And it's a lot of the same shit. So I don't really want to dwell on it. We can go back here to Underdog. And we can go back to the ARB page. So like if you use FanDuel and you use Fliff has a max bet size of 250. Pull up Fliff quickly, bet his under, Madison's under for 250, hit his over on FanDuel. I recommend rounding your numbers. So maybe, round to 105 and you're going to make a risk-free profit of $6, right? It's fucking crazy. All books set their own odds. When they get super out of sync, you can bet the over on one book, the under on another book, make a risk-free profit of $7 for 20 seconds of work. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, like $7. That doesn't seem that worthwhile. I'm only making $7 risk-free. And it's like I could literally do this in 20 seconds. You go here. If Fluff loads. And let's check out Underdog. So Underdog does have some new plays. Damn. So Underdog does have some new plays popping up. Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown. So anyways, let's go back here. And again, it's very easy to do if you know how to navigate these books. So it's like go to Madison, where is it? Hit him to go under for 250 on Fliff, 250 to win 263. Hit his over on FanDuel for 105, 106, 107, whatever. You can round your numbers. You make a risk-free profit of $7. Easy as that. Easy as can be. And sometimes there's better arbitrage bets than others. But anyways. So Underdog Fantasy, what's popping up? Shit. I still haven't slept. I'm exhausted. But anyways, let's go back here. And let's start. So we have Eric Kendricks over 5.5 tackles plus assists. And again, this optimizer is just pointing out discrepancies. So if you go here, let's check out PrizePicks. They have his line at 6. All the other books have his line higher. So it's okay, that seems like a good play to go with. And then let's check out St. Brown under in touchdowns. So let's go here. And I didn't see this play earlier. So if we look at St. Brown, right, you can see all the books, Pinnacle, sharpest book, has a minus 180 to score a touchdown. So what we can do too is if you want to look at the line movement, some people like seeing and sometimes you can equate it with injuries, lineup changes, whatever. This play probably not, but it becomes pretty clear. When Kevin Durant gets injured, if he gets injured, obviously, hopefully he doesn't, you'll see Booker's points line move up by 4 or 5 points because KD's out. Booker's going to be taking more shots. But anyways, if we go to Brown, is what we can do is we can kind of take a look at a little, what just happened on Pinnacle. So again, Pinnacle is known to be, this book is known to be the sharpest book out there. They have his under as a huge favorite, minus 180 favorite, and they're just ripping odds towards him not scoring a touchdown. And again, on Underdog, and this play pairs actually very nicely with Eric Kendricks over 5.5, right? So where is St. Brown? So this is what we want, right? If the Chargers or never mind. No, it doesn't. What am I talking about? But anyways, let's go back here. Let's reload this. Let's take a look. So some of these plays we've already locked in. And again, because Underdog has me on these bullshit betting limits, not going to be able to bet it. So then we have Dalton Schultz under 5 receptions. So many bets, like more games in a day means there's going to be more profitable bets. Dalton Schultz, books have him at 4.5, right? PrizePicks has him at 4.5. FanDuel has him at 4.5. Underdog has him at 5. It's like, okay, so we want to slam this under. And just finding a bunch of plays with an edge. Again, if you don't like risk, if you never want to lose a bet, you should be arbitrage betting, right? Arbitrage betting, there's some like help videos on it. It's risk-free money. You make money no matter what. But anyways, let's reload this and let's just kind of take a look. And we can go back here. I mean, it would be nice if some good plays showed up on Fliff. Did I stop sharing my screen? I apologize. So there we go. I'm sharing my screen again. So we have Garrett Wilson to go. So we already have this play on DJ Moore. Damn, this play seems pretty good. Khalil over, or you can see they just bumped him up to 7.5. They had his line at 7. You can see they just bumped him up to 7.5. So I was too slow for that. But we have Dalton Schultz under 5 receptions. Nixon over 3.5 tackles plus assists. So these lines are kind of moving on us. So we have Dalton Schultz under 5 receptions. Okay. And then maybe we just take this. Maybe we play another 3-pick. And you can see they just locked this play on Dalton Schultz. So these lines move quickly. I mean, Dalton's line, 5 on Underdog. You know, you can see here, like, lines are moving. Line movements are kind of highlighted on the sportsbook screen in red and green. All the other books dropping his line to 4.5. All the other fantasy sites have his line at 4.5. So let's go back here to PrizePicks. Oh, baby. What is going on? So Justin Herbert's line, it's like, it looks like some books pulled lines. So if we go here to passing attempts and we look at Justin Herbert, right? It's like all the books, or a lot of the books, DraftKings, Caesars, Underdog, ESPN, don't have lines up on Justin Herbert. I don't know. Maybe some injury news came out or something like that. If we pull up Underdog NFL, I don't know. But so you don't have as many data points here, but still seems like a halfway decent play to go with. And here we have, well, you can see they moved quickly. This line was plus 120. They already moved it down to plus 105. The odds of this bet have changed. So you really are like day trading the sports books, taking advantage of inefficiencies in the market. So you want to move quickly as you can. Obviously, you don't want to make errors and accidentally take an over instead of an under, but still trying to move as quickly as possible is definitely super valuable. So that, you know, some of these plays we already have. So it's like, okay. Jason Tatum is a new play. Tua over. Tyler Lockett under. So some NBA plays popping up. So let's go back to Underdog. Maybe there's some more value on Underdog we can lock in. If not, we'll go back to PrizePicks. We'll lock in a slip. It's just easier. On Underdog, you only need 3 picks. They have pretty good payouts for those 3-pick entries, 6x payout. So a lot of times I'm placing 3-pick entries on Underdog. So like we have Witherspoon over, not a ton of value, whatever. We'll go back to PrizePicks for a sec. So these same plays are still available. And again, value can be in kind of random markets, like Tua rushing plus passing yards. Not where I would have expected to see value. But PrizePicks has his line at 277.5. All the other books have him higher. Seems like a decent spot on PrizePicks. But again, like, you know, we hit a bunch of good bets on this live stream. some more arbitrage bets kind of popping up, college basketball. So you use Caesars DraftKings, head over to Caesars DraftKings, know how to navigate these books quickly depending on your bankroll, make a risk-free profit. That's great. But anyways, we'll call it a day for now. Hopefully this live stream was helpful. Feel free to email me any questions. And thanks so much for your time.